This podcast is a proud member of the Unidentified Network.
So now, ladies and gentlemen, live and in colour, it's Mr. Wayne Lovejuice.
The other day our producer Louis had a chat with an interesting chappie who said that the YouTube algorithms really aren't that happy. If a channel only broadcasts once a week, so we decided we can text ya whenever we've got a piece of news in our new book on the track Xtra. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is John Downs and I'm the director of an organisation called the Centre for Fortean Zoology, which is, just in case you haven't heard of it, we believe at least, the largest and best organisation in the English-speaking world dealing with cryptozoology and various allied disciplines. Twice a week we bring you this show, On the Track, which deals with hard science, weird shit, and surreality. And you want to know what surreality is? Well, I think you'd better ask Archibald.
I don't know why you're asking me what surreality is. I'm only a little talking dog who co-presents a cryptozoology show on YouTube.
The English Lake District is one of the most beautiful parts of the country. Regular CFZ watchers will remember that over 10 years ago we made 2 trips up there looking into the stories of giant eels in Windermere and Coniston Water. The investigation sadly petered out when we ran out of money and witnesses. But we did our best and we came up with some very interesting stuff which you can find here on YouTube. It was, I think, the first major film that we made, and it's called Eel or No Eel, starting up the tradition of us making extended videos, long-form videos of our investigations and often giving them stupid puns as titles. Now, the Lake District in recent years has been the location for quite a few mystery cat reports, and in this episode we're going to have a look at the latest 2 in some detail. I first learned about the Lake District in the children's novels of Arthur Ransom, which still deserve reading even a century after they, and the most famous one of them of course is Swallows and Amazons, after they were first written, and they are still beautiful books which I read even today, and I would recommend to anybody who likes books about the countryside and about a more gentle and peaceful time than the one that we live in now. For those who don't know, the Lake District, also known as the Lakes or Lakeland, is a mountainous region and national park in northwest England. It's primarily famous for its mountain, lake and coastal scenery and for its literary associations with William Wordsworth and other lake poets, Beatrix Potter and John Ruskin. The Lake District is completely within Cumbria, and its mountains or fells are sometimes called the Cumbrian Mountains. It was historically divided between Cumberland, Westmoreland and Lancashire. The Lake District National Park was established in 1951 and covers an area of 2,362 square kilometres, that's 912 square miles, and it was designated as a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2017. All the land in England higher than 3,000 feet or 914 metres above sea level lies within the Lake District, including Scafell Pike, which at 978 metres or 3,209 feet is the highest mountain in England. It also contains Windermere, which is the longest, 18 kilometres or 11 miles, and largest lake in England, and Westwater, which at 79 metres or 259 feet is the deepest. And although a popular holiday destination, it has some quite remarkable cryptozoological connections. For example, at the beginning of the 20th century, and I believe 1908, stories of a flying hedgehog-like creature with the tail of the squirrel and two tiny wings were reported from Lake Windermere, and the creature was even photographed. The stories resurfaced in the mid to late 1990s, and although they seem highly unlikely, it is interesting the way that the legend refuses to die. One of England's rarest fish, the shelly, is found in 4, or at least 4, of the bodies of water in the Lake District. It's a very controversial species because although some people believe that it is just a race of the European whitefish, which is quite widely distributed across the continent, others believe that it is an individual endemic species belonging to England, and still more people believe that each of the populations in the 4 or more bodies of water where they can be found in the Lake District are actually individual species in their own right. According to the Daily Mirror on the 12th of January, a man from Scotland called Lewis Daly spotted what some social media users think could be a lynx prowling around the British countryside whilst on holiday with his family in the Lake District. Lewis Daly from Glasgow was on a family trip to Coniston, Cumbria, when he spotted the mysterious animal roaming wild and started to film it. "I was getting ready in the morning, looked out the window, and I've seen something that caught my eye, like an animal thing," he said. "So I picked up the iPad and I just started filming it. I was a bit shocked. I thought it looked like a lynx. It's something I'm not used to seeing." Lewis, who now lives in Wolverhampton, only caught a few moments of footage before he rushed off to alert his family, and by the time he got back the animal had gone. Sharing the video online, Lewis had several people agreeing that it looked like a possible lynx. One viewer said, "Looks like a lynx to me. From the tail to the full fur, it moves like a lynx. They have a sort of heavy grace while walking. Well done." Another commented, "Until you see one with your own eyes, I get it. You just wouldn't believe it. Great find, great spot, great footage." Well, to be quite honest, I don't know what it is. It looks more like some kind of a mustelid to me, possibly a wolverine. Although there haven't been reports of wolverines in Britain for some years. About 15 or 20 years ago there were lots of them. But in the intervening years the reports have died down massively. I'd be very interested to find out what it is, however, and if anybody has any other great ideas, please can you write them in the comments below. If I had a time machine, I would go back to 1969 with the name Heavy Grace, because it sounds just like one of those bands that John Peel would have played on Top Gear or Sounds of the 70s back at the, nearly 50 years, over 50 years ago now. I think it might be a really good name for a heavy progressive band now. But I am digressing. A few days after the alleged lynx that I think looks like a wolverine was sighted in Coniston. There was another sighting, this time from the top of a bus, by none other than Harlem, who presents the podcast I Talk Cryptids. Cop a load of this.
Okay, Harlem, what did you just see?
So, my original plan was to come here where I'm at now, which is Grisdale Forest, Mill Lake District National Park in the northwest of England. Now, I took the Coniston bus from Windermere, which is the 505, to get here so I could get off at Hawkshead and walk up here. And it was strange because while we're walking past, I'm at the back of a bus and I'm looking, right, not thinking I'm going to see anything. I wasn't recording or anything, unfortunately. But there's this tucked away farm, this little farmhouse. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I see this large black four-legged creature, pitch black, so it wasn't a deer or anything, no antlers or anything like that, and it was slouched down, and it was running, right? It was running, and it hopped over. It was either a fence or barbed wire or something. It hopped over something, and then it carried on running, and it hopped over another thing, and the bus, it was going on a turn, right? So the house got in the way of what I was looking at. And I didn't see it at all after that. I was recording after I'd seen it when I got out my phone. Nothing. So what I've done, I've pinpointed it. And one day, hopefully soon, I'm going to go back there as the direction where the creature, presumably a big cat, was going. There's another conifer forest like this one in that direction. So whether it went there or that's where it usually goes to take its food, I don't know. But there has been past reports of big cats in the Lake District, mutilated sheep and stuff like that.
And what? So when you looked at this, whatever it was it all black? Did you see any details? As in, did it have a tail? What did it look like?
It was all black. I couldn't see eyes or anything. It was all black. I never looked where the tail would be, if you get what I mean. It was more just this black creature, like this black mass. But it wasn't a deer, it wasn't anything like that. I could tell it was a cat. I just don't know what. All black. It's, it could be a puma, a panther. All of them have been seen around here, so it's weird, yeah.
Do you reckon there was any other people who saw it, or was it just you?
Unfortunately, nowadays, most people are on their phones around the bus. I was the only one who was properly kind of observing, because I knew there's been past reports in the area I was going. So I was just looking around. I was looking if there's any interesting places I could go. After I saw that, though, I called up Nick McLaren from the Winter Investigation Team and told him what I'd seen, because he's close by, being down in Bolton, and he's had cases up here as well of a Bigfoot-like creature, which is the main reason I've come up to this forest. But I was shaking, my body was shaking, I was stuttering. It was weird because I wasn't suspecting to see something like that. Now I've seen what I think to be either puma or lynx paw prints over in the northeast, Speeton, but I've never seen a big cat itself. So it's
that your
daunting.
first big cat experience?
Properly, yes. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have the actual pinpoint location of where this cat jumped over?
Not the exact location. I'm going to be getting the same bus back. So while I'm going past that area, I'm going to go on Google Maps. I'm going to pinpoint exactly, because if I then go there in person to that exact area, I remember now exactly where it was, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Amazing, Harlem.